tell me in 2015, what was the full arch landscape back then?
Yeah, it was untamed. By 2018, I was very frustrated and disillusioned with my career. I just couldn't foresee another 10, 15 years of what I was doing. My first printer was a Moonray. That was my first introduction into digital dentistry.
So the idea of FAM came before you became digital or after you became digital?
Once I was partially digital, yeah. My lab bills were getting up to $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 a month. A month.
You were the first center.
And I was the only one doing it. Like, there was nobody else who was teaching digital full arch dentistry at that time. Having a quality infrastructure is what makes it last. You know that from your
100%. How did you come up with a name? How much money do you make?
Oh my God.
All right. I'm in Fresno.
You are in Fresno, my friend.
And this time I'm turning this table around. I'm in your studio, but I'm going to interview you.
Well, you know, sometimes the operator is the observed.
Yes.
You know, today's my day to get observed.
Ryan, you're the FAM father.
That's the nickname they give me.
Very successful educator, entrepreneur, dentist. And I want to highlight those 3 stories together in one shot in the next 30 minutes.
Woo!
Can we do that?
I think we can do it.
So, where did it all begin?
Well, I graduated from dental school in 2006. I went to a dental school where specialization was the norm. Mm-hmm. If you didn't specialize, you were seen as an oddity. Oh, and my 3rd and 4th year at dental school, I couldn't decide what specialty I was going to do. And everybody was hounding me, whispering in my ear, you got to be a prosthodontist, you got to be an oral surgeon, you have to be an orthodontist, you got to be a periodontist. And I couldn't decide. I liked all phases of dentistry, and I couldn't decide what specialty I wanted to do. So I told my dean in a meeting that I wanted to go to a GPR, like a general practice residency, and he kind of like looked down, almost shook his head at me like in disappointment. And I said, well, I'll do the GPR and then figure out from there. Right. Because I may be an oral surgeon, I may be a prosthodontist, maybe perio-pros, I don't know. It's too soon for me to tell. And so I ended up at the Bronx VA Mount Sinai GPR. And that was a really, really good opportunity for me because I got to really work on all phases of dentistry except ortho and pedo, because it was veterans. It was a VA hospital. So I didn't do any ortho and I didn't do any pedo. But by that time, I was really debating between perio, surgery and pros, like some type of surgical career or a prosthodontics career. And I realized after doing a year of residency that I liked both, and I couldn't choose one over the other. I loved doing implant surgeries, complex surgeries, dental alveolar surgeries, but I also loved restoring cases. So I opted to stay a second year to figure it out. And by the end of the second year, this was 2008, I realized that my career had to be made up of both. Right. Because I couldn't choose. I didn't want to go back to school for more training. I had 2 years under my belt. I wanted to get out and work. And I started doing nothing but dental implant cases because that allowed me to do surgical dentistry and prosthetic dentistry in one procedure. And that was the only phase of dentistry that I fell in love with. So that was really the birth of my passion in implant and prosthetic dentistry, was just not being able to find my niche. And it turns out that my niche was doing both.
You carve your own niche.
Right, carve the own niche. And when I started, I got a job as an associate here in Fresno. I'm from California originally. So my wife and I moved back to California. She got a residency at UCSF Fresno here. Mm-hmm. So we knew we were coming here. And then she started working. I needed a job. So I found a job in an office here in town doing, general dentistry, quadrant dentistry, sedation dentistry, but gravitated immediately towards full arch and bigger implant cases. And that's where I lived for many, many years. I was just happy in that position. And slowly by surely, I started to grow. I started to get more interested in entrepreneurship, owning my own office, starting something for myself. So I branched off from being an associate and started this practice that you were here today. 2015, I started Better Life Dentistry. And I always remember I did some lead up marketing for my practice. My first day open, I did a double arch all on 4. That was my first patient. So I did some. We were scheduled to open like July 9th, 2015, and I had done marketing for a month or two ahead of that. So I had seen some consults, but our official first day
was
I still remember the patient John. I did upper and lower all-on-4 surgery as my first patient.
2015. Did you do it any full arch before that? Or
Yeah,
that
yeah.
was
So as an associate,
as an associate?
I had been building my skill set and doing full arch cases as an associate.
And tell me, in 2015, what was the full arch landscape back then?
It was untamed.
Analog.
Yeah, it was untamed. There was, first of all, there was very few GPs doing that type of work. It was, if there were full arch cases, they were done by an oral surgeon and a prosthodontist.
Right.
It was all analog, so there was no digital scanning, there was no 3D printing, there was no CAD design. It was a guy on a bench with a model waxing up a case. And then I would be trying that in the mouth, and we'd be mailing things back and forth, and it was ugly.
That's 9 years ago, but it feels like
prehistoric. Yeah,
true.
yeah. So
Really?
by 2018, I was very frustrated and disillusioned with my career. Well, not to the point where I was like ready to quit, but I just couldn't foresee another 10, 15 years of what I was doing.
Right.
Because my practice had grown exponentially. My first year, I think we did 2.2 million in gross. My second year, we did 2.8. My third year, I was at 3.5 to 4.4 million in gross sales, all by myself. So I'm busy. I'm doing a lot of dentistry every day, and I couldn't foresee the next 10 years. Like, what I was thinking, what if I got to 5? What if I got to 7? What if I got to 8? What if I got to 10 million? And I'm doing nothing but analog full arch dentistry. I was not going to survive.
Right.
So around 2018 was when I started to think, okay, I see some of this digital technology. I see how it's making other phases of dentistry better, CEREC and Invisalign. It was making dentistry better on other realms, but it hadn't even touched full arch. There was nothing, no crossover whatsoever. People were still taking pictures with Polaroid.
Sure.
They were still, doing wax try-ins. Like it was ridiculous. So by 2019, I said, okay, either I'm going to find a solution to this analog workflow, or I'm going to retire, because I can't foresee another 10 years of this. And luckily, that's when in-office printing and in-office milling and intraoral scanning, photogrammetry, those things started to get teased and kind of be there. So we joked earlier that my first printer was a Moonray.
Yeah.
And I don't remember how I got it. I don't know, swap meet or something.
Yeah.
But that was my first introduction into digital dentistry, was a Moonray printer. I didn't even have an intraoral scanner. We would take models and we would scan them.
And a desktop scanner.
Right, desktop scanner, and we would scan it, get something, make it, and then print it on a Moonray, which took like 8 hours.
So the idea of FAM came before you became digital, or after you became digital, you said, let me teach
once
this
I was
to people?
partially digital, yeah. Once I had incorporated some 3D printing, and I had finally gotten an intraoral scanner, I was thinking about building my own in-house lab to make things easier for myself. I always had lab technicians working for me because I didn't want to send wax rims and stuff like that out, because they melt and they get distorted. So I always had one or two lab technicians as a presence, but I didn't have a full-fledged lab. Once my lab bills were getting up to $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 a month, that's when I said, I don't think this is sustainable. I think I'm going to get to a point of diminishing returns. And my clinic's going to be growing, but I'm not going to be able to keep up on the lab side, and it's going to be too expensive. So I kind of committed to the idea of bringing some of the manufacturing in-house. And that's where I think FAM came out of, was that desire to empower myself to control more of the process. And then I realized, if I'm doing this, and I'm going through this struggle, there's got to be a ton of other dentists who are going through the same struggle. Why don't I reach out to them and show them what I'm doing and guide them so that they don't have to struggle as long as I did? So that was really the nidus, I think, for my personal development, in my own career, but it coincided with this idea that I could help others.
What year was this?
2019. Yeah, right before, and then 2020 into right before COVID.
How did you come up with the name?
Good question. Full Arch Masters. I knew that I wanted to do something like the Masters, like the golf tournament, because it's such a prestigious organization. The green jackets and the pomp and the circumstance surrounding it, and the brotherhood, sisterhood associated with that organization, that I wanted to kind of put a flag in Fresno the way that there's a flag in Augusta, Georgia. And so I just love, I'm not even a golfer, which is the funny part. So I went to Harvard, I'm a dentist, my last name's Dunlop, and I don't golf, which is like 3 strikes you're out, right? But I just love the imagery, and I love the idea of creating an elite brotherhood and sisterhood for doctors who want to strive to provide the highest quality dentistry that they can and not compete. We are all in competition with each other theoretically, but we don't have to compete with each other.
Right.
Like, golfers don't compete with each other. They're competing against themselves. How good can they get, right? Tiger Woods only competed against his previous scores. He was always trying to get better. It's not like a head-to-head competition like ping pong or something like that.
Totally.
So I saw Full Arch Masters as the same as golf. If you don't know what you're doing, it's the most frustrating game on the planet, right? Everybody who golfs will say that. It can be the most frustrating game on the planet. But if you get good and you push yourself, you compete against your own limitations. And so that's what I think it came out of was Full Arch Masters. We are the people who are trying to master the implant game, master the full arch game. And so that's kind of where.
What about the logo?
So the logo is a combination of teeth. You got some teeth on there. You have dental implants on there. And you got this key. And the key is unlocking your future and kind of walking through the door of transitioning from analog full arch dentistry to digital. So once you discover the key to success, it leads to the promised land, And ever since converting to digital dentistry for full arch, I do feel re-inspired. I feel invigorated. I feel optimistic, whereas before I felt pessimistic and lacking kind of hope as to what the rest of my career looked like. I just could not fathom doing more verification jigs, open tray impressions, wax try-ins, remakes, hoping for passivity. Like, it was just a stupid game. Like, why would I keep playing that? Too many steps, 8 to 10 visits, frustrated patients, frustrated doctors, frustrated lab technicians. Everybody's trying really hard, but the results were not good enough. And as soon as I transitioned to what I'm doing now, everybody's happy. Lab technicians love their jobs because they can strive on accuracy and predictability. Clinicians love their jobs because they can deliver high-quality results quickly and have satisfied patients. And then patients are extremely happy because their experience is better. And they want to refer their friends and their family. And, I had a great experience at Dr. Dunlop's office because he gave me teeth in a day. They fit perfectly. They looked fantastic. And I recovered, and now I'm done. Oh, you went to the other guy, the dinosaur guy? Oh, what did it take? 8 months? Oh, yeah, I'm still not done. Oh, yeah, we finished, but then it broke. So now he's remaking it.
Absolutely.
Like, there's just such a huge difference in patient experience. So literally, everybody's happy. It makes everybody better. Now let's talk about the economics of it. It lowers overhead. It lowers remakes. It lowers lab costs. It lowers clinical costs. It lowers access to care for patients. I'm able to help more people even at a lower price point if I wanted to, but my fees have gone up over time because I'm getting better and better and better. Why would I not raise my fees? So I raised my fees after going digital instead of dropping them, but that means my profit margin was higher. I can reinvest in more marketing. I can reinvest in employees. I can pay my employees better, and I maintain the same take home.
Absolutely.
So that really is kind of like how the logo symbolizes all of that in one shot.
And very distinct colors, and I really like it.
Well, this is actually my high school colors. So I chose green and gold because, first of all, it pops.
Yeah,
it's got a nice pop. But then also, I went to San Marin High School in the Bay Area, Novato, California, and we were the Mustangs, which was named after Cal Poly San Luis Obispo Mustangs.
Right, of course.
So out here on the coast.
Yeah.
So a lot of people in Fresno are familiar with these colors and this modality.
Interesting.
So it fits well. And then it translates into our green jackets and our yellow socks.
Which you've done a tremendous job of branding and creating that community. So what's the story with the jacket?
The jacket is just a symbol. It's a symbol of our brotherhood and sisterhood. It goes to people who take the course who are investing in the technology and investing in the training. You see green jackets at symposiums. You see them at other courses when we get together. It's something that bonds us.
Right.
And just like if you were Rory McIlroy and you ran into Tiger Woods and you both have a green jacket, it's like
something.
It's like, hey, when did you get your jacket? I got my jacket in 2021. Oh, really? I was 2023. So it becomes a running joke, and it's a camaraderie. And we just got back from Cincinnati for an advanced surgery course, and to see the camaraderie in the room, it gives you goosebumps.
Yeah.
We all work hard. We did surgeries all day together. We transformed these people's smiles together. And then at the end of the day, it's like 9 p.m. We've been in clinic for 14 hours. And then we order some pizzas and some wings and crack open a couple cases of beer and wine coolers. Everybody stayed.
Excited.
Everybody stayed.
Totally.
We went from 40 people all doing surgery together for 14 hours to 40 people drinking and having fun and relaxing and laughing until 2 a.m.
Yeah, that's brilliant. How many people have you trained over years right now?
Thousands of people.
Thousands
And thousands of people all over the world. We're starting to break through into international markets. We've got people coming from Europe now. We've got people coming from Australia now. I've been talking to a lot of kind of big groups in Asia, in China, Japan, where it's like 50 offices and they want to go digital. So they've heard about Full Arch Masters. Right. So, we've really worked hard to become a household name in America. I think most, if not all, implant dentists know who Full Arch Masters is, but very few people know us abroad. So it's kind of exciting to see what's possible with Full Arch Masters as we cross over into an international market.
Very exciting. And when was the first batch of students you got? Was 2019?
End of 2019, there was a handful of doctors who reached out to me on Facebook because I would just I was posting little things like, oh, I got a new interesting toy, and somehow they found out about it, and they would just message me and say, hey, I want to come up to Fresno and just learn that. So I had like Dr. Aldo Espinoza, Dr. Azita Fakili, Dr. Nader Bazi. There was like maybe Dr. Jezen, Dr. Mark Jezen out of Grand Rapids. There was maybe like 5 or 6 in a row that just reached out to me back to back to back. Like, can I come bring my team and learn what you're doing? And so they came out one by one or maybe 2 at a time. And I would just set aside 2 or 3 days and just have them shadow me. So there was no formal curriculum. There was no formal training. It was like, over the shoulder, just kind of hang out for a couple of days. And by the end of 2019, I went, wait a second. I can't keep doing this. It's too unorganized for me to have somebody over here every week, and it decreases my productivity. It was slowing me down on a weekly basis because I would run a very busy clinic. You were over there. You saw stuff happening.
Yeah.
And so I said, it probably makes more sense if I shut my entire clinic for a week. I didn't have associates then. I said, let me just close my clinic from Monday to Thursday, and I'll invite 4 or 5 docs, and they'll all pay, and that'll replace the lost production. So I'd produce, $300K in the first 3 weeks, and then I'd be missing $100K
of the clinic.
From clinic production, but I'd replace it with $100K tuition. So I was like, okay, at least I'm whole, and I get to teach people. So I did that for maybe a year, where it was just like 3 weeks on, and then I would have a course, and then 3 weeks on, and then I would have a course. So all through COVID, remember when we were shutting down? Yeah. All through COVID, we did March, April, May, June,
just teaching.
And just 8 to 10 docs at a time. And we all had those stupid masks on. We had the courses outside. It was ridiculous, but we did it because people were shut down. They were slow, and they could see that this was a good time to learn this stuff. And I was the only one doing it. Like, there was nobody else who was teaching digital full arch dentistry at that time.
You were the first center, I think.
Yeah, I for sure.
One of the first.
For sure, there were companies.
Yeah.
There were companies that had this technology, but there was nobody who had put it together, teaching it as a workflow. So I was very fortunate all through COVID to keep running courses. We never had an instance where like the whole group got exposed to COVID. We were good enough to keep people safe. So we ran like 8-9 courses in a row through 2020, and then by 2021 everybody wanted to take FAM, right? So we had a wait list. I had to open up additional courses. We had to split courses in half and do a May 1, May 2. So it's been steady. We have sold out every single course since its inception. So
how do you do it now?
What do you mean, how do we do it?
In terms of course, clinic, how?
So now I have 2 associates, Dr. Sadiq and Dr. Parth. You saw them over there. So they're able to keep production up. So I can run courses more or less as much as I want now. and I don't have to worry too much about a huge drop in
Clinic.
clinical production. So now we're really mobile and really flexible. That's why we do the advanced surgery courses. We do laboratory only courses. We do photography and marketing courses. Whatever the public needs, we can provide. So we'll send people to you. We'll have you out for private, whatever it works in the modality. We've had private courses for DSOs that I don't advertise because they don't want to be public. I've had 10 or 12 docs come from one DSO and we just to learn this workflow, and they don't want anybody to know because they've got competitors, you know. So it's really been like a meteoric rise, and it's been fun to be on because my clinic is fun. I love my clinic. We do great work, but this is like a different dimension to my career, different perspective, which is really fun.
Let me put you on the spot here. How much money do you make?
Am I driving the car on my TikTok videos? So, like I said, when FAM started, it was just a replacement for lost wages.
Right.
So
that's all you wanted.
That's all I wanted.
Yeah.
I said, whatever I'm making in a week, that's what a course should make. So if a week was $150,000 in revenue for my clinic, I was hoping that the courses would produce the same amount. Obviously, that's changed to, you know, each course, you know, if it's a $150,000 revenue course, we're doing 8 to 10 of them a year. Right, so you can do the math there. And then the surgical courses are much, much more advanced. They cost a lot more to do. They cost a lot more to run. So each one of those courses is probably worth about 3 flagship courses. So, you know, FAM is a multi-million-dollar operation, and our overhead is lower than a dental clinic. You know, because I don't have the supplies. Like this is my supplies rather than all the surgical stuff.
Cotton balls.
Right.
Does it make more than production dentistry now? Are you at the level that's
they're about even, yeah. So the my clinic produces more gross, but FAM produces the same net, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
so
course.
I'm producing $6 million in clinic to net 2, and I'm just producing 2.5 to net 2. So they're pretty even in terms of revenue, but they are vastly different in terms of their overhead. Although even, you know, as our courses get more complex, I have more people involved. I have more salaries, more overhead. So that's changing as well. So to keep up with, you know, staying on top of the latest and greatest technology, my overhead for FAM is going up as well. But it's still lower than a dental clinic.
Yeah, so much operation goes inside
a
dental
just
clinic.
Look where you
it's
are.
Just crazy.
Like, you know, there's so much that goes into developing and running a quality course. And that's really why FAM has stood the test of time at this point. Because you see courses come up and they'll do like full arch digital workflow course, and they'll do like 1 or 2 and then they just disappear.
Yeah, it's a lot of work.
Because it's a lot of work. I spend 40-50% of my energy on FAM.
Amazing.
You know, so that's why I think having a quality infrastructure is what makes it last. You know that from your end.
100%. Before we wrap, I know you got to go back to patients. What's the future for FAM?
Oh my God. Well, you told me.
Where are you taking it?
We're going to do a lot of cool stuff by the end of the year. We want to develop our own symposium. We want to develop our own in-person, because, you know, getting together is really the backbone of FAM, because the culture is so strong. The camaraderie is so strong. We want to have our own full arch symposium, digital symposium, one-day thing or something like that. So that's kind of on the horizon. Uniting clinics, right? So there's a big trend in full arch dentistry right now where private equity money is kind of hovering over, buying certain practices up. Things are conglomerating, things are condensing. They're forming kind of bigger networks. And nobody could be stronger than Full Arch Masters if we're talking network. We'll take anyone on. So if FAM can create a actual network of EBITDAs or of workflows or of offices, imagine the power that we could take to Wall Street. Imagine if we had 20 or 30 or 40 or 50 offices that all do high quality full arch dentistry. Imagine if those were united somehow, like legally, and were one entity. And then you could shop that around to a private equity firm. And then all of a sudden, instead of 50 offices each controlling $1 million, now you have 50 offices controlling $500 million. And now you're a major player. So that's kind of maybe the evolution of all of this, is not only are we teaching people and not only are we connecting people, but then we're harnessing the power of that community to create wealth for the people who are in it. That gives me goosebumps.
Yeah, absolutely. Right? Very exciting.
Thank
you for hosting us, Ryan. appreciating Fresno, and hopefully we'll post the video of the tour.
Well, we should post a little bit of the tour. And also, the last thing we should talk about is how cool SprintRay has been to fam. So, I want to give you guys a shout out.
Thank you.
Because, like I said, my first printer was a Moonray in 2018 or something like that. And we used to set cases at 6 p.m. and come in at 7 a.m. and they'd be done. But all along the way, SprintRay has always been there side by side with fam. Shout out to Chris Luter.
Yes, Chris Luter.
Both
of our seeing this, Chris. Thanks to you.
Shout out to you, Chris. You're a bud. Hopefully, we got to buy our tickets. He and I are going to go to opening day for the Giants this year. But you guys have always been there, and you're a very fast, adapt, mobile, agile company. And that's really to your benefit. And so you should be very proud of that. And I look forward very strongly to how SprintRay and Full Arch Masters can continue to collaborate and co-brand and grow, because you guys are the only printer company that's dental, like only 100%. Dental, and you should be proud of that. But we are the only Full Arch Masters in the world, so we're proud of that. And so I look forward to our continued collaboration and partnership.
Likewise, Ryan. We're committed to that. We'll make it happen.
Right. So,
thank you, man.
And it doesn't bother me too much that you went to USC. Yeah. Because I went to UCLA. So
that's
it's proof.
Undergrad.
I know. It's undergrad for me too. Yeah. But
second best school.
It's proof that we can work together.
Yes, we can. Second best school. Yeah.
University of second choices, I think. I know. UCLA used to be called
That's
University of Second Choices. That's what my cousin went there. So I said, you're going to the University of Second Choices.
It's okay, Ryan. No one is perfect. So we're not going to hold it against you.
Exactly. Well, UCLA was University of Coddled Lonely Adolescents.
Interesting.
Right.
I didn't know that.
Right. So,
very good.
But seriously, all jokes aside, you guys have always been a major player in what I do. Your resin technology and your agility, your ability to adapt, I think is, second to none in the industry. Most of these companies we talked earlier are just like the Titanic.
Yeah.
They're so slow, they're so cumbersome. Yeah. You guys are like the little speedboat that's going around and outmaneuvering everybody. So
very true.
Major props to you guys.
No, it's very rewarding to hear that. That's exactly what we like to operate and solve issues, problems, iterate, bring the next products. We're at generation 3 of Onyx. Can you believe it?
I can't, because I feel like I was one of the beta testers for the first Onyx.
You were.
And I think I put in one of the first full arch cases for Onyx when it was in like a cardboard.
No-name bottle.
It got shipped to me, and it was leaking.
Yeah.
It was leaking out of the bottle, and Luter sent it to me. I'm like, what the hell is this stuff? He goes, it's called Onyx. We want you to try it. So we poured it into the printer, and it was all clumpy and everything.
The shades were bad.
It was like there was green and chalk. That was it. But you guys have come a long way, and now I think that you set the standard for resin technology and for innovation. So that's pretty cool.
Thank you, Ryan. Appreciate it. We'll come back for a second episode longer when you have time.
Yeah, we'll do another one in May when you guys are back up here.
Let's do it.
We on the last day of the course, we usually do a series of podcasts where I get to interview people. So we'll turn the tables.
Let's do it.
And that'll be the fan podcast.
Love to do that.
Cool.
Thank you for hosting us, man.